afternoon from Los Angeles. It's Alyssa Corum and Ken Shreve here with a look at the stock market today. On today's show, we're going to be taking a look at Zoom Video, as well as Amazon, and yet another software stock that's working on a base. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes. Let's see here. We finished the day pretty much flat after a strong open. So by the end of the day, we were trying to come back into positive territory. Looks like we closed slightly lower across the board here. So what do you make of today's action, given that we've seen quite a few strong up days in a row, now some resistance at the 50-day?
I mean, overall constructive. We were up for 5 straight days on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, 6 in a row for the Dow. So we were going to get a pullback at some point. But bottom line is that sellers were around all day. I remember NASDAQ 100 futures were up by about 1%, and we opened solidly higher. But again, sellers were around all day, and we ended up closing pretty much flat, but well off session highs. And again, look at the chart of the NASDAQ here, getting some early resistance at the 50-day moving average. So it's still, even though we got that bullish follow-through day on Friday, it's a technically challenged index. We want to see it start to close multiple times above that 50-day, still struggling to get above it.
Exactly. So I think that resistance there may be anticipated, given the fact that we have seen such a strong bounce off the bottom, but now from here, like you said, we'll want to see it continue to move higher to make sure that this uptrend really is intact.
Yeah. So there was a lot of selling in software stocks. We're going to talk about a new issue that fell sharply. So some selling in the new issue market as well. But again, after 5 straight gains, we got a little bit of a pullback here, and volume pretty close to what we saw yesterday. So it never really felt like massive, institutional selling today by any means.
Right. Okay, everyone. Now let's take a look at a few individual names, starting off with Zoom Video, a recent IPO in the software space. Recently broke out of an IPO base with strong earnings, but today fell about 7% back within that buy range. And we'll dive into Zoom's chart, but elsewhere in the IPO space, Beyond Meat falling really hard today after quite a rise itself. So I guess it just goes to show you that with these IPO trades, they can get pretty wild.
Yeah, and it's not bad being in an IPO when you're in the
Right.
early stages of a new market uptrend. And at least for Zoom Video today, disappointing action. I mean, it really was a powerful breakout over a 91.56 buy point. You can see it is basically testing that prior buy point now. So it has not broken down by any means. It's not an unhealthy chart, but some big sellers in Zoom Video today. Again, volume not overwhelming to the downside, but new issues. You mentioned Beyond Meat and also Shockwave Medical. So a lot of selling in some of these new issues today, along with leading software stocks.
So sometimes we say that when a stock becomes extended from buy range and then pulls back within that buy zone, that could potentially be a chance to get in if you haven't already. But that's usually if the pullback is a gentle pullback into buy range.
Yeah, and so this would definitely not be a gentle pullback. Again, volume wasn't overwhelming to the downside, so that was a positive. But it was a sharp percentage decline for Zoom Video. So you may want to just wait and see if this can firm up a little bit if you want to enter the stock. We are in a confirmed uptrend, so that's the time to be nibbling here and there and trying some stocks on so we'll see if Zoom Video can hold above that buy point.
Yeah, that'll be key. All right, well, let's turn our attention to Amazon. It looks like its cup with handle is still intact here. There were some concerns, though, losing the 200-day line during the sell-off, but it, along with the broad market, has been able to make a bit of a comeback. So it looks like this pattern is still intact.
It is still intact, and there's a buy point here of 1964.50, and Amazon made a nice move just above the 50-day moving average Monday, and it kind of got pulled back with the NASDAQ today, closed near its low, but it looks like it eked out a small gain. So definitely that 1964.50 buy point is in play, and out of all the FANG stocks, this is really the only chart that looks reasonably good. All the other charts, a lot of technical damage in the FANG group.
Exactly, yeah. Amazon, it's about 5% below this potential buy point here. And just to compare, Apple, it had a cup with handle, broke out above that level, but really took a hard hit below its 200-day line in the recent sell-off. So its chart is pretty damaged. Just one of the FANG Plus stocks that's
So, and
damaged.
Apple has rallied back off its lows, but again, probably the best chart in the FANG space right now is Amazon. We'll see if this market uptrend can hold itself together. We could get a fresh breakout for Amazon.
And annual earnings estimates look good, so always good to see those strong fundamentals as well. And let's also take a look at another stock in the software sector that is setting up. Metadata Solutions, the ticker there is MDSO, and it's trading about 4% below a potential buy point, and it was able to trade in a really tight range where we saw a lot of tech stocks getting hit hard in the recent downdraft.
Yeah, this is a nice company. Found this one in the MarketSmith Growth 250 list of leading growth stocks, and this is just on the daily chart here. We see a little flat base forming, 9870 entry. It's just a provider of cloud-based software for the life sciences industry, but definitely a breakout candidate, and metadata looking pretty good here.
All right, and you know that relative strength line is closing in on recent highs already, so it could, if it continues to climb, hit a new high for that RS line before the stock even breaks out.
Something that is always positive to see when you're doing technical analysis on a stock. So you got a bullish RS line, and a stock that's getting into position for perhaps an upside move. We'll see.
All right, sounds good. We'll keep that one on our radar as well, and you can always check out investors.com for a more detailed look at stocks that we are watching and market analysis. And you can also check out our content across social media, whether that's on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or Twitter, so you can stay up to date on all the latest. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.